This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Brown. Thank you for joining us. Topping the news tonight, the National Emergency Management Agency continuing to update the public on recovery efforts post-Hurricane Dorian. Tonight, Megan Shepard fills us in on the latest details from the various agencies.
Restoration efforts continuing to go smoothly on the island of Grand Bahama. This according to reports by the National Emergency Management Agency. The Samaritan's Purse Emergency Field Hospital has been turned over to the Rand Memorial Hospital. In the transition from disaster relief to a country office, it is expected that they will be on Grand Bahama for a year or as long as the services are needed. They are also currently receiving building supplies for specific projects in both Abaco and Grand Bahama. The Customs Department reporting that the clearance of goods and vehicles is going smoothly, and from all understanding, the expiry date for duty-free clearance is December 31st. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force and Royal Bahamas Police Force operations continue with increased patrols in East Grand Bahama. Additionally, the police force has received 8 new vehicles. Now, the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce noting that they are still looking into securing funding and assistance for businesses destroyed by the storm. Meanwhile, there is still a problem with potable water on the island. While the non-governmental organizations are providing free water and producing 35,000 gallons daily, a solution needs to be found, as these services will soon phase out. N.E.M.A also committing to make a trip to East Grand Bahama on Saturday and Sunday mornings to distribute relief supplies. Residents will be informed of the schedule so they don't miss the opportunity. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Sweetings Key received significant damage during Hurricane Dorian, and to date, some residents are still living in tents on their properties as they wait for the island to recover. Engineers were a part of the recent Sweetings Key tour by government officials and others from key private agencies to assess the damage. Civil structural engineer Wendell Gray says during the recent hurricane, that community received an extreme storm surge, higher than the island has ever seen.
The impact of the storm surge was immense on the structures that were built. And as Minister Lewis said, there will have to be some revisions made, especially for coastal communities, small island communities in the Bahamas, to try to be able to combat the forces that nature is now presenting us with.
Architect Gordon Major says it is also important for the team to enforce the building codes going forward.
We could see that in many areas where the code requirements were not met. So it's important that we beef up inspections so that there's more resilient buildings that are constructed. And the reality is that what happened in Dorian, even if these persons had complied with the building code, there's certain forces that are beyond what could withstand the current standards as established by the code. So based on that, we're going to be looking at the code to see which areas we can improve, which areas need beefing up.
Volunteers and first responders answering the call of duty by coming to the aid of those affected by Hurricane Dorian. Yesterday, Mercy Corp, an international organization, recognized a group of individuals for their assistance in helping so many Grand Bahama residents in need. Jamila Missick reports.
A special recognition ceremony held for volunteers and first responders who assisted international organization Mercy Corp with relief efforts post-Hurricane Dorian. Mercy Corp is a global organization that focuses on humanitarian aid in areas hardest hit by humanitarian disasters. Program Officer Virginia Cooper says since September 15th, the organization has distributed water and other items around the island.
What this is that we're the only, one of the few international NGOs that actually sourced our volunteers locally. So actually people who were there in the storm came out and actually supported and knocked door to door with us. And we just want to show them how much we appreciate them, because they didn't have to. Everybody's been going through their own struggle, but they decided to, put themselves outside of their situation to try and help their fellow brothers and sisters on the island. So we just wanted to have this event to thank them and show them how much we appreciate and love what they've done for us.
Now, since the storm, the volunteers assisted more than 1,000 households, more than 8,000 persons, and distributed more than 250,000 gallons of water. Program Officer Tizelle Liborn says they're now transitioning their focus on an early economic recovery program
that supports small and medium-sized businesses who were affected by the storm, specifically those who lost their inventory and may not have had insurance. And so what we want to do is help them to build back and build back stronger so that we can support the Bahamian economy here.
The volunteers were all congratulated and presented with awards by N.E.M.A Coordinator Senator K. Forbes Smith and Minister of State for Disaster Management, the Honorable Aram Lewis. Jamila Mizik, 7S Network News.
Thank you, Jamila. A team of doctors concerned about the mental state of residents who were affected by Hurricane Dorian, creating a survey to determine whether or not psychological help is needed. As Shashina Wolf-Farquharson reports, a veteran physician shares the importance of taking care of not just the physical, but also the mental and emotional needs post-Hurricane Dorian.
Thousands of persons throughout Grand Bahama and Abaco have been affected by dangerous Hurricane Dorian, from living with vivid memories of the raging storm to losing their homes or loved ones who may have been confirmed dead or who are still missing. Dr. Virendra Pandey says no doubt many families are still rebuilding the physical part of their lives, but are not taking care of the mental side. This is why the Family Wellness Center under Dr. Kevin Bethel have created a survey for residents to take in the event they are suffering from any mental effects post-Hurricane Dorian. Dr. Pandey explains that so far 500 residents have taken part in the survey.
I think it's around 30 to 50, different range. Some need more, some need less, something like that. We're not calling it like PTSD as it is, because we are not defining PTSD, but this is a PTSD. This Dorian became a trauma, and any stress, you were fine till 1st of September. Your whole life upside down change. You understand? That is what we are trying to find out, how much it is mentally impacting our community.
He says residents are also coming into the clinic to take the survey.
If some of them, one or two, we notice, they come on their own when they heard about it. But most of them are coming because their employer wants them to do that. Employer noticed some changes in their behavior, performance, productivity. So they want to know whether this person needs help or not. So I will appeal to anybody can do this online.
The medical doctor explains what happens once they review the results.
If we see this person need right away help, and if that person left any contact information, we will try to contact them. If not, then we will just tell in general, once we finalize the result, the people who have this much of years, seek help.
He also adds that residents should be mindful and look for signs of those who may be suffering silently.
It's not too late yet. That if you think, or if you suppose husband think or spouse think that one of us has a problem, then the spouse who think like that should approach.
Shashina Wolf-Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
In news from the court, 20-year-old Hayward Johnson of number 99 Gordon Avenue was arraigned before Magistrate Rankin Johnson today on 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. According to police reports, on Saturday, November 16th, shortly before 9 p.m., officers of the Central Detective Unit, acting on information, went to Gordon Avenue where they observed and recognized Hayward Johnson, who is well known to officers. The officers proceeded to approach the suspect, who then ran. Officers officers pursued the young man, who was suspected of being in possession of an illegal firearm. The suspect then reached to his waist and pulled out a dark-colored firearm and pointed it at the officers, who, being in fear for their lives, fired at the suspect, who made good his escape. He was later captured in the area of his residence. However, officers were unable to locate the firearm. Now, Johnson was not required to enter a plea in court today and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services until trial on March 11th of next year. Meanwhile, 56-year-old Charles Davis, a.k.a. Pope, of Bayshore Road, Jonestown, 8 Mile Rock, was also arraigned before Magistrate Rankin Johnson on the charge of rape. He was not required to enter a plea, and the matter was adjourned to the 19th of February next year for trial. He was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services until trial. In other news, as we continue our series, Living with Epilepsy, tonight Shashina Rolf-Farquharson sits down with a 7-year-old child who shares how this disease is impacting her life.
7-year-old Olivia Boodle says living with epilepsy is not easy.
It's be hard for me to breathe sometimes, and also whenever I have to see my seizures, my face, one part of my face just feel tingly. It just feel like something crawling on my face.
This beautiful little girl says she also has bad stomach aches and seizure-like activities every day, which means that she cannot attend school as often as she would like. This is how this brave child describes the first time she had a seizure just 1 year ago.
All I remember is when my grandma was telling me to wake up, I couldn't see people because my eyes was rolled in the back of my head, and also when I was having the seizure, there's only one part of my face was feeling tingly.
Olivia says she's grateful that she has an older sister who is always there for her, even if she is scared anytime she's having a seizure.
I'm glad that she was born, and I'm glad she's always be there for me. But whenever I have my seizures, she's be sometimes afraid. Sometimes she's be afraid.
Do you be afraid?
Yes, Mom.
Why?
Because it's be really scary. I just don't know what they be doing. And also I just scared of the seizures because I don't want to die.
You know you're gonna live, right? You're gonna be okay, right? That's right. You know how to pray, right? So you pray when they start to come on sometimes?
Sometimes I can't talk when I having seizures. But I do pray when I go to bed for my seizures to go away.
And for this little girl, she shares why her mom is her hero.
She's be always helpful because whenever she see me having seizures, she's be very nice and also kindful. I love my mom.
I am constantly worried about her, constantly afraid for her, because people can die from seizures. And one of the types of seizures that she has is difficult for her to breathe.
Now Shante is asking for your assistance for medical care as Olivia prepares to travel back to the United States. If you are in a position to help, you can call 807-5870. Shashina Rolf-Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
Coming up, we'll tell you about another group of students celebrating high marks in national exams.